everybody. Sarah Batchelor here, the Neuro-Spicy music teacher, and still a teacher in the province of Alberta. And it's August, and I know a lot of us are gearing up for our upcoming school year, hopefully having spent July recovering from the past. I'm looking forward to the new challenges of this year. I've added a bunch of stuff onto my own plate because I spent July working, but I spent it working for me. So the Neuro-Spicy music teacher is now officially a company, and I have a web page, and I'm dropping courses. And do you want to know what the most ADHD thing I've done all summer? I'm going to make a single page cheat sheet to really specify what the curriculum for grades 7, 8, and 9 look like in my province, because it's really vague. And the curriculum in grades 10, 11, 12, or in our province 10, 20, 30, are really beautifully laid out. Why don't we have something like that for middle school? And since I'm going to be working with beginner band teachers this year, that seems like a tool we could all use. Why don't I just make these one-pagers? The final manuscript is 289 pages. So that's what I spent doing in July, and I'm pretty proud of it. But today, what we're going to talk about isn't going to take 289 pages to explain. Hopefully it's only going to take a few minutes, because I'm going to give you a challenge. I'm going to challenge you this year, when you sit down with your kids and you're about to teach them to play their instruments, that you don't teach them how to play their instruments. I want to challenge you to teach them how to figure out how to play their instruments. Seems like a pretty simple shift of words. I'm going to teach you how to play an instrument. I'm going to teach you how to figure out how to play your instrument. But it really changes everything. Because the first statement, well, it sets me up as I am the conductor, the director, the maestro. I know all things about the instrument. I shall then teach them to you in bits and pieces as I see you are ready for them, or as maybe you ask if you feel you're ready for something new. But I hold that knowledge. When I say I'm going to teach you how to figure out the instrument, that sounds like you're going to do some work. That sets the expectation from the beginning that you are the one responsible for your growth on this instrument. Yes, I'm going to share how to do this with you. I know how to do this. You're going to play the trumpet. I'm not going to just hand it to you and say, go make a sound. Actually, I am, and we'll talk about that. But I'm going to come at it through the lens of, I'm helping you building strategies. I'm not just letting you flounder, right? Because we've seen bands where they haven't had a lot of explicit instruction and things, and the kids just try stuff. And sometimes you're lucky and that works for you. I've seen bands and heard bands which are micromanaged. And when I've workshopped kids and their eyes immediately go to their teacher for the answer. I prefer it when I ask a question to a group I don't know and somebody starts flipping through their book to look for a fingering chart. That makes my heart happy. I'm like, you have some strategies. Because we, as the conductor, no matter how much knowledge we have, no matter how good we are, we're not always there. And I don't want the idea to be that you're only learning how to play your instrument when I'm in the room, right? Because that's not what's happening. You actually do a lot of that work individually on your own when you actually take it out of your case at home. Oh, I'm funny. I'm just thinking, how many of my kids have actually taken their instruments out of this case this summer? I don't even know. But that is another conversation. We want to make sure that the kids understand from the beginning that playing music is work. We have fun working hard. This is like, you're on a sports team. Do you love every practice? No, absolutely not. Some are hard, right? My son, sometimes comes off the soccer pitch and he's just sweating and nauseous. And I'm like, dude, what, you have fun? And he's like, yes, fun working hard. No, but it's part of growth, right? Because when you break through whatever that barrier was, and then you come off the pitch and you're like, yeah, did you see it? I did that move where I did that nutmeg thing. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Good for you, buddy. You're not gonna have the same aha moment if I feed it to you than if you have it. Because when kids master something and then they just want to share it with everybody, right? So I want you to challenge kids to figure things out as they go. Now, how do we do that? I alluded, first sound. All right, everyone make a sound. They're like, what? I'm like, play this note. We know the fingering, play concert B flat. Now, was it a good sound? Probably not. But that's expected, right? Reassure them, always. We're going to be brave enough to suck at something new here, guys. This is good. This is good progress. Okay. Why did it suck, though? It probably was really loud. You probably blasted me. You probably played a pitch you didn't expect to play. Were you too high, too low? Can you even tell that at this point? Right? So I'm like, okay, let's play a better sound. Try again. Raise my arms, bring you in. They're like, how? I'm like, just do it. Trust me. Play. Okay, was it better? What did you do differently? Okay, less air, more air. I tightened my lips. I loosened my lips. I got the right fingerings. Right? What did I do? Okay, do it again. Same sound. I don't want to change it yet. Let's see if we can replicate. Okay, good. Now can we make it even better? What? You said that you did this and it worked for you. Hey, let's all try that. Right? And so, and it's also very organic because you're pulling from the musicians themselves right away. And you're forcing them to build vocabulary for things like embouchure, aperture. Use the big words, my friends. They can handle it, right? It's language. Why are we dumbing it down? And also, it's the language of music, so I don't see why we would say anything other than the actual words, right? We talk about all of those terms and definitions every day, and we make it part of, it's embedded, I think is what I'm trying to say. I'm trying not to go off on a tangent. Now, can you run a class where kids are experimenting and learning and talking with you and amongst themselves if you run a silent rehearsal? And I think the answer is no. So I used to struggle for years with the whole idea of the silent rehearsal, that when I raise my arms, instruments are up, you are ready to go. Yes, I have that happening. When I stop you, we freeze. Yes, I have that happening. That's it. This, arms down, and they immediately go into side conversations. And I've had many mentors, directors over the years, just wait for them to be quiet. Just wait them out, wait them out, wait them out. Well, while I was waiting, I decided to start listening to what they were actually saying. And what I heard was the vast majority would say they were doing one of 3 or 4 things. They were celebrating. Yeah, I nailed that section. Yeah, did you get that? I got that. Did you hear that? They were commiserating. Can't believe I nailed that number. They were correcting somebody, whether nicely or not. Dude, E flat, not E natural. 2-3, not 1-2. Or, hey, that was a fun sound you made there. What did you just do, right? Like, but there was some working. Or, what is the fingering for this, right? Or, did you know the natural, it lasts for that whole measure. You shouldn't have gone back to F sharp. Oh, right. These are the things they're saying to each other. Now, when I hear, hey, do you like my shoes? Hey, so-and-so's looking at you. Hey, you want to go to that movie? No, then we're done, right? That's a hard no. We're done. But I allow a fair bit of that chitter chatter to go on. And I've got my signals. I hold up my hand and I go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I start talking. I don't wait any more than that. Sometimes it's 3, 2, 1, going, and I'll say that 3, 2, 1, I'm going, and I'll just start talking, and they pull themselves back pretty quickly. I find them pull themselves back quickly when I allow them that 30 seconds to a minute to just debrief. Then if I'm like, nope, we will wait you out. It doesn't work for me. If it works for you, keep doing it, but it doesn't work for me. And I find, especially with my neurodiverse kids, and I think this is, as a neurodiverse person, I'm the same way. I process out loud a lot of the time, right? Like this verbal blah, blah, blah of mine is just dialogue, right? And it's processing. And when I shut that down for them and for me, I think we lose out on an opportunity to allow them to struggle and build strategies, but we also deny us data, right? And that looking at mistakes are just data. It's just information. What we do with it is what we do with it. We're not going to stay there. But this gives me data, right? When I listen to what they're talking about, it also sometimes gives me the freedom to move to other sections and work on things specifically, because I know what they're working on over there is mostly content related. There are days when I don't run those types of rehearsals, though, but I tell the kids, I'm like, today we are going to run silent rehearsal. And they know what that means. That means that means that stop means stop. I teach them stop means pause, because we're changing direction. There's some new information. There's something we have to fix. That's pause. But if it's stop, okay, my turn, right? A silent rehearsal, and those are expectations we practice, and some days they works, and the only thing consistent about me is that I'm not consistent, right? I mean, let's put that right out there. Which also is a struggle for neurodiverse people, right? We struggle with those building habits, building routines. And so I find the things that work best for me are when I build on things that are already happening. So for this concept to work for me, well, it worked for me because it was what I was already doing. I just didn't know that's what I was doing, right? Instead of waiting for them to shut up, which is what I thought I was doing, what I was really doing was allowing them some processing time. And when I built that into the structure of my lesson, it changed everything. But it also changed nothing. Right? I mean, is my classroom management better because of it? Probably. My expectations are a lot more clear because I know what I'm allowing and why. Yeah, I was allowing it, but I didn't know why. So the intention and the purpose behind it were lost. A lot of opportunities to build those intentional strategies and highlight things was lost because I didn't know that's what I was allowing. I thought I was just waiting for them to shut up. When I look at it from a different lens, I'm allowing them to debrief. I've even had, a 30-second timer on my desk. I hit a button. I'm going to tell you, debrief. I also will just somebody say, fix that. And I don't even tell them what that is. I hit the 30-second button and I turn my back to them. Turn back. All right, let's try this again. And then I say, okay, what do we fix? But I want to try it again so they can see if what their idea was worked or not, right? Rather than just throw out ideas and try and try and try. Let's, I don't know what we call the buckshot approach. Fire in all directions, and then zone in on find the specific things you're going to work on. I think our neurodiverse brains are fantastic at finding those patterns, and I think our neurodiverse brains are fantastic at seeing those patterns in other people more than we see them in ourselves, which is a gift as an educator. But then learning to apply them to yourselves, that's when the game really changes. So the more I learn about and research about how my brain works, why it works the way it works, why my students are the way they are, with their pruning brains and hormones and more testosterone than common sense, the more I realize that the best part of teaching is figuring it out together. I come in with these overarching plans, ideas, and high expectations, incredibly high expectations. And high standards, but I say the secret to happiness is lowered expectations. And that's because I have such high expectations and standards that it isn't really lowering them, it's adjusting, right? And there's tons of room to adjust. And we're still going to be above where we would have been if I haven't set the standard so high. So this fall, I challenge you to give yourself and your students some time to figure things out together. Instead of approaching this as, I am going to teach you, let's make this collaborative. I am the benevolent dictator of this band, and I'm going to work with you while you figure out how to play this instrument. I'm going to teach you the things you need to know so that when I am not in the room, you can continue to grow. Not just continue to work on what we're working on. You can continue to grow. Whenever I give the kids an opportunity to pick a song they can play by themselves, I call it the solo duet challenge, and it's never a solo duet. It's always like small ensembles. But you can pick any song you want and learn it. And you're going to play it for the class, and that's going to be your final playing exam. And I do that after final concerts in middle school. We have about 3 weeks, and they get, a couple classes in there. And we do some theory too. They never pick music. Well, and I do tell them, because occasionally one kid will be like, I'm going to play Hot Cross Buns. I'm like, can't be anything we played this year. It can't be anything in the method book 4-page, whatever we've worked up to. Not that I really use method books, but they have one. Go. Just find something, go. And I rarely have kids pick music that is easy for them. They always pick something that is in their ability, if not way too hard. And then I find myself doing fun things with them, like, okay, I know you really love this song. How can we make this middle section work for you? How about we drop it an octave? Right? What if we oh, what if we just transpose this whole song down a third? And then I pull up my phone and I play Square 2 and I take a picture of it. And it turns it into a music XML, and I put it into flat.io, and I click transpose down a third, and I print it off for them. And it takes me 4 minutes. And then if this is something they do all the time, I teach them how to do that, right? Yes, I can do all things. No, I cannot do all things. But yes, I can do all the things I need to do to teach. But that's too much. That's exhausting. I have 70 million of you. I can't do that for all of you. Wouldn't it be better if you could do it for each other and do it for yourselves? And I really think that building that resilience, building that self-confidence, building that whole, yeah, it's hard right now, but it's going to get better. That is the real gift we give our kids in teaching music. It really is. You know, I really think the world would be a better place if more people were in band or on sports teams. It's these things build community, they build relationship, they build resilience. There's winning and losing. It's not a sport if you don't have winners and losers. Competition is fun. It doesn't have to be cutthroat. Sometimes it's fun when it's cutthroat too. I don't know. But this whole idea that it's part of something bigger, right? And that these skills are going to transfer to other things. And the work we do is really, really, really important. Really important. Every one of us knows this. We can all think of a story of a kid whose life we know we've had, our fingerprints have made their lives better, that they've learned a skill and gone on to do other things, and not meaning the few students I have who play with symphonies. I have a couple who play in orchestras. I have a student who owns his own record label. I have kids who've made careers. I mean, I've performing artists up and coming as well. And yeah, super proud of those kids. Band teacher students. Yeah, I've got some students who've gone on to be band teachers. Fantastic. But I'm equally proud of my students who've gone on in every other field, and they'll reach out to you and they still play sometimes. You know, oh my God, I still play my saxophone. Oh, that's awesome, right? Like, the skills that we build with these kids now is going to serve them well in any field that they go into. And it's kind of fun being in a job where you literally get to diss kids all day and be sarcastic and joke with them and just build that camaraderie and family and safety. And really it's the world that I want to live in. And so it's band is kind of like my utopia, right? Like I build the society that I want to live in, and that's what you get to do as a director as well. And so if yours is a silent rehearsal society, then that works for you. You do that. Because believe me, there are a couple kids in my program who wish everyone would shut up. And some days I'm with them. And with that, I will leave you to enjoy the rest of your beautiful August day, and or whatever day it is you're watching this. And if you like content on being a neurodiverse music educator, tips and tools and things to support you in your career, because honestly, I'm more about supporting you to support your students than I'm about just strategies to support your kids. Like, that's what today is. Like, reframe what you're already doing, look at it through a different lens. It's going to help your kids. Because the research shows what we do for neurodiverse people is best for everybody. It really does work for everybody. This whole universal design concept in many, many ways is so freeing for those of us with neurodiversity, because we are going to be able to reach the kids that were like us, that maybe had trouble being reached. And I'm really excited about the future of music for that. So take care of yourself. Please recharge this summer. If you're interested in any of the PD and things I'm going to be offering, I'm going to be doing a session in September on assigning instruments to students for the first time. In fact, it's going to be a 3-session workshop we're going to offer. One of the coolest parts of it is going to be talking about assigning through the lens of diagnoses. And I don't know a lot of people who are doing this, but I've done some research on it, and I'm really going to be diving into that. I'm going to be doing some sessions on scope and sequence for the new 289-page manuscript I've got done. And of course, I'm running the First Downbeat, which is a year-long professional development support cohort sort of situation for beginning band teachers or people new to teaching beginner band. I know registration's closed, but if you were to hit me up, I might be able to find you a spot. We still have a couple spaces that I would be willing to open up for people who are just looking for that kind of support. It starts August 12th, so if you think you're interested in that, please check out my webpage, the Neuro-Spicy musicteacher.com or .ca. Find me on Facebook. like, share, subscribe, and thank you so much for being here today.